Fatima 100 years ago, and explain what happened and why was it so controversial?
Well, it's an amazing thing, truly. I mean, some people consider it literally miraculous.
3 young children are walking through a sheep pasture when suddenly a bright light appears in the sky.
The message of Fatima reveals 3 distinct things: the vision of hell as a warning to shake the conscience of humanity.
For more than 100 years, people all over the world have been touched by the mysterious story of Our Lady of Fatima. In 1917, something amazing happened in a small town called Fatima in Portugal. 3 young shepherd children said they saw a beautiful lady who told them important messages from heaven. These messages weren't just for them, they were for the whole world. 2 of these messages have already been shared and talked about, but the third message, called the Third Secret of Fatima,
They are shocked to see what looks like a heavenly angel floating above them. The children believe that this otherworldly figure
has been surrounded by mystery for a very long time. Some people say it was too scary or shocking to reveal right away. Others believe the full secret was never shared at all. What was so important about this third secret that it had to be kept hidden? The last of the 3 children, Sister Lucia, became a nun and lived a quiet life for many years. But even in her silence, she carried this heavy secret with her. Before she passed away, Sister Lucia gave a final warning. She talked about something she called a diabolical disorientation, a kind of deep confusion and evil that, she said, was even entering the church. What did she mean? Was she trying to warn us about something dark that is happening today?
The official church's interpretation of that secret of Fatima.
Some people believe her last words might help us understand the strange and difficult times we're living in right now. Others think it was her final cry for humanity to turn back to God before it's too late. One thing is clear: Sister Lucia's warning was serious, and it should not be ignored. So, if you've ever been curious about faith, prophecy, and spiritual mysteries, then stay with us. In this video, we're going to uncover the chilling truth behind the Third Secret of Fatima and explore the powerful final message that Sister Lucia left for the world. And if you enjoy deep mysteries like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on our future videos. The story of Fatima, when heaven spoke to earth.
Millions have heard the story of Fatima in Portugal, where in 1917 the Virgin Mary appeared to 3 children there and told them some top-secret information.
Our story begins in the quiet, peaceful hills of Fatima, a small rural town in central Portugal, in the spring of May 1917. Life was simple there. People worked the land, raised animals, and held deep faith in their hearts. It was during this time, as World War I raged on across Europe, that something extraordinary took place in this humble corner of the world. 3 young shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, age 10, and her younger cousins Francisco Marto, 9, and Jacinta Marto, just 7 years old, were tending their flock of sheep as they often did, guiding them across open fields and rocky pastures. The children were innocent, joyful, and unaware that their lives were about to change forever. As they played and watched over the sheep, a bright flash of light suddenly pierced the sky.
Places and people that Mother Mary could choose to appear to, she chose 3 young shepherd kids from a small town in Fatima, Portugal.
Startled, the children looked up, thinking it might be lightning. But the sky was clear, and then, appearing above a small holm oak tree, was a radiant figure, a woman more beautiful than any they had ever seen, dressed in pure white, brighter than the sun, with a gentle and peaceful expression on her face. She held a rosary in her hand. The children were both frightened and amazed. The lady spoke to them gently. She introduced herself not by name at first, but as someone from heaven. In later visits, she would reveal that she was Our Lady of the Rosary, the Virgin Mary herself. She had come not just to speak with the children, but to give a message for all of humanity, a message that would echo through history for generations. Over the following months, the Virgin Mary returned to the children 5 more times, each on the 13th of the month, with one exception in August. when they were briefly detained by local authorities.
On May the 13th, 1917, in Covadieria, 3 children were tending their flock of sheep.
Each appearance came with important words, warnings about the state of the world, and guidance on how people could turn back to God. She urged them to pray the rosary daily, especially for peace, since the world was torn apart by war. She called on them to do acts of penance and to seek forgiveness for the sins of mankind. The lady's words were simple, but they carried deep meaning, a call to prayer, repentance, and hope. As news of these apparitions spread, more and more people came to the site. At first, only a few villagers accompanied the children, hoping to glimpse something divine. But by the time of the final apparition, word had reached far and wide. On October 13th, 1917, a crowd of over 70,000 people gathered in the rain-soaked fields of Fatima. Journalists, skeptics, believers, and curious onlookers stood side by side. What happened next would stun them all.
6 years old, 8 years old, and 9 years old were tending the sheep.
Suddenly, the rain stopped, and the clouds broke. The sun, which had been hidden, appeared to spin and whirl in the sky, changing colors and moving in a way no one could explain. Witnesses said it danced, trembled, and even seemed to fall toward the earth before returning to its normal place. Many cried out in fear. Others fell to their knees in awe. This became known as the miracle of the sun, and it was widely reported in newspapers, even those that were skeptical of religion. Throughout these visits, the lady entrusted the children with 3 secret spiritual visions and prophecies. The first 2, revealed later by Lucia, described a terrifying vision of hell, the importance of prayer, and a prophecy about a second world war if humanity did not repent. But the third secret was different. It was more mysterious, more guarded. Lucia was told to write it down, and the sealed letter was sent to the Vatican.
Sister Lucia's last public interview took place on December the 26th, 1957.
For decades, it remained hidden, fueling speculation. Why was it kept from the public? What could be so grave that even the Church hesitated to reveal it? The mysterious third secret. What was hidden so long? Now let's dive into the most mysterious part of the Fatima story, the third secret. Out of all the messages given to the 3 shepherd children, this one has caused the most confusion, curiosity, and debate. For many years, people all over the world ask the same question. What did it say? Why was it kept hidden for so long? And what could be so serious that the Church didn't want to reveal it right away? After the first 2 secrets were made public, everyone waited eagerly for the third one. But nothing came for years. Not even decades. People started wondering what was inside that sealed envelope Sister Lucia had written. Some believed the third secret talked about terrible wars, worse than anything the world had ever seen. Others were sure it warned about dark problems inside the Church, like losing trust in leaders or a spiritual crisis. And then, some thought it might even talk about the end of the world, with fire, suffering, and chaos everywhere. Finally, in the year 2000, the Vatican decided to release what they said was the true third secret. The long-awaited moment had arrived. The world held its breath. What was inside? According to the Vatican, Sister Lucia had written about a powerful vision. In it, she saw a bishop dressed in white, someone who looked like the Pope walking through a city in ruins. The place was full of dead bodies, and the bishop was weeping. He walked slowly, praying for the people he passed. But then, something tragic happened. He was shot and killed by a group of soldiers. And he wasn't the only one. Many bishops, priests, nuns, and other believers were also killed. It was a scene of pain, death, and deep sorrow. The Vatican explained that this vision was not about something in the far future, but a warning about the sufferings of Christians in the 20th century. They said it pointed to times when people of faith were hurt or killed for believing in God, especially during wars or under cruel governments. Most importantly, they believed the vision showed the attempted assassination of Pope John Paul II in 1981. He had been shot while riding in a car through St. Peter's Square. He later said that he believed Our Lady of Fatima saved his life, guiding the bullet away from his heart. But here's where things get even more interesting and confusing. Not everyone agreed with what the Vatican said. Some people, including priests, writers, and those who knew Sister Lucia personally, believed something was missing. They said the version shared with the world didn't feel complete. In private conversations, Lucia had reportedly spoken of a much deeper danger. She mentioned a diabolical disorientation, a kind of spiritual confusion or blindness that would affect not only regular people, but even high leaders in the church. She warned that this would lead to a great crisis of faith, where even good people would start to believe lies, fall into sin, and turn away from God without even realizing it. So, what's the truth? Was the entire secret shared in 2000, or was there another part, a darker warning that was never made public? Was the church trying to protect people from fear? Or was it trying to hide something it couldn't explain? Even today, many people are still asking, did we get the full Third Secret of Fatima? Or is the most chilling part of the message the one that could change how we see our world, still hidden? Sister Lucia's final warning, a cry from the heart. Sister Lucia dos Santos, the last surviving visionary of Fatima, lived a long life that was deeply shaped by the visions she experienced as a young girl. As she grew older, she became known not only for her piety, but for her quiet, contemplative lifestyle. She spent most of her years in seclusion, choosing to remain close to God through prayer and reflection. Despite the fame and attention that the Fatima apparitions had brought her, she preferred a life away from the public eye where she could devote herself entirely to her faith. Lucia rarely spoke out in public, keeping much of her thoughts and reflections to herself. But in her later years, as she aged and saw the world changing in ways that troubled her deeply, Sister Lucia began to speak more clearly and boldly about what she had seen and felt during her encounters with Our Lady of Fatima. One of her most powerful and urgent messages came during her final interviews, when she shared a warning that still echoes today. She spoke of a terrible danger that would threaten the world, something that, at the time, seemed difficult for many to understand. Lucia described this danger as diabolical disorientation. At first glance, these words might sound strange or confusing, but Sister Lucia explained them simply and directly. She warned that people everywhere, even those within the church itself, were being misled by darkness, lies, and evil. It wasn't an external threat, like a war or a natural disaster. It was a spiritual confusion, an overwhelming sense of being lost without even realizing it. Lucia believed that this diabolical disorientation would lead people to a place where they couldn't tell the difference between right and wrong anymore. It would make it difficult for them to understand the truth. People, even the good ones, would start believing lies, whether those lies came from the media, from popular culture, or even from within their own hearts. And most tragically, they would turn away from God. They might not even realize that they were drifting away until it was too late. What made this warning so haunting was that Lucia didn't just see this disorientation affecting a small group of people. She believed it would touch everyone, from the ordinary person on the street to the most influential leaders in the church. People would be so confused, so wrapped up in lies, that they would no longer know where to turn for the truth. But Lucia's message wasn't just about the confusion that would sweep the world. She warned that the devil's greatest goal was to destroy the family, the foundation of society, and to weaken the church from within. This was a frightening revelation, one that many people didn't want to accept, especially because it seemed so hard to believe. The idea that the church itself could be torn apart by internal confusion was unsettling, but Lucia felt it was vital to understand. She knew that if people didn't return to prayer and didn't reconnect with God, then the forces of evil would take over even more. Looking around at the world today, Sister Lucia's warning begins to make a lot more sense. Families are falling apart at an alarming rate, and many are struggling to find unity and purpose. People's faith is being tested every day, with some abandoning their religious beliefs altogether. And there's chaos and confusion everywhere we look, whether it's in politics, social issues, or even in our personal lives. In this confusion, it becomes harder and harder to distinguish between what is good and what is evil. Lucia's cry for prayer and a return to God becomes even more urgent when we see how far the world has drifted from the truth. Lucia's final plea to humanity was simple, but incredibly serious. She begged people to return to prayer to make God the center of their lives once again. She urged people to turn back to God, to seek His guidance and protection, because only through strong faith could they survive the storm she saw coming. She believed that the prayerful, faithful life was the only way to fight against the diabolical disorientation that would sweep across the world. Her warning, though painful to hear, is as relevant today as it was when she first spoke it. With the world becoming more divided, more uncertain, and more spiritually lost, Sister Lucia's cry from the heart might be the most important message of all. Is the warning coming true today? Now let's ask ourselves a difficult but important question. Could Sister Lucia's warning be happening right now? If we look around, it doesn't take much to see that the world is facing more confusion and chaos than ever before. What Sister Lucia warned about, the diabolical disorientation, seems to be unfolding right in front of us. The world today is full of division, uncertainty, and, unfortunately, a loss of faith that's hard to ignore. Let's start with the Church itself. It's no secret that many people today are growing more distant from their religious roots. Faith, once a central part of daily life for so many, is shrinking in influence. Church attendance is declining, especially in Western countries, and fewer people identify with religious beliefs. Even within the Church, there seems to be confusion about what it stands for and where it's headed. This sense of uncertainty within religious institutions is something that Sister Lucia directly warned about. She spoke about how people, including religious leaders, would begin to question the truth. Her warning about diabolical disorientation didn't just apply to ordinary people. It extended to those who are meant to lead others in faith. And this sense of spiritual confusion among leaders is evident today. Take a look at how even within Christian communities, there are increasing debates and disagreements over what is right and wrong. These aren't small matters. These are debates about the very foundations of belief. There's disagreement about social issues, moral values, and what the Church's role should be in society. Instead of uniting people, these divisions are tearing groups apart, making it harder for individuals to find common ground and discern what's truly right. This confusion is exactly what Sister Lucia foresaw. She warned that evil wouldn't always come in a dangerous form. Instead, it would appear normal. It would blend into everyday life and make it harder to spot. This is what she meant by diabolical disorientation. The danger of evil, she said, is that it doesn't always seem like a threat. It can appear as just another part of life. But slowly, it pulls people away from God and leads them down paths that separate them from the truth. And it's not just about the Church or religion. The problems of broken families and a loss of trust in society are just as real. Families, the building blocks of any healthy society, are falling apart. Divorce rates are high, and even in families that stay together, there's a growing sense of distance and misunderstanding. Parents and children seem to struggle more and more to communicate. This breakdown within families is one of the key indicators of the disorientation that Lucia warned about. The family is one of the most sacred institutions, and if the devil can weaken families, he can do a lot of damage. This is exactly what Sister Lucia saw happening. And it's hard to ignore how her words seem to reflect our current reality. Even in broader society, there's a growing sense of moral confusion. People seem to be less sure of what is right and what is wrong. There's a moral relativism that has taken hold in many places, where everyone is free to make their own decisions about what's true for them. But this approach has made it difficult for people to agree on anything good, what's bad, what's moral, and what's not. This growing moral confusion has created a society where it's harder to make sense of the world around us. It's easy to look at these challenges and feel discouraged. But it's also important to realize that Sister Lucia's warning wasn't meant to paralyze us in fear. It was meant to wake us up. Her message was not a call to panic, but a plea for us to stay strong in our faith, to support one another, and to pray for the truth to be revealed. It's a reminder to remain vigilant against the forces that seek to confuse us and lead us astray. She urged us to remain faithful, even when the world around us seems uncertain. She believed that prayer and strong faith would be the key to weathering the storm of disorientation and confusion. If we take her words seriously, we see that hope isn't lost. There's still time to turn things around, but we must act now. It's not about living in fear of the future. It's about taking responsibility for our faith and helping others stay on the path of truth. We need to keep praying, keep seeking the truth, and keep loving one another as we strive to keep God at the center of our lives. Could Sister Lucia's warning be true today? The evidence certainly seems to point in that direction. But it's also a call to action. Let's take this message seriously and do everything we can to make sure the disorientation doesn't sweep us away. The time to act is now. What can we learn from Sister Lucia's message? Sister Lucia's story is not just about secrets, warnings, or fear. It's a story that speaks of hope and resilience in the face of difficult times. Though the messages she received from Our Lady of Fatima were often unsettling and filled with warnings of what was to come, Sister Lucia's life and words show us that even in dark times, there is always a path forward, one rooted in prayer, faith, and love. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the state of the world today. There are so many challenges, so much confusion, and at times, it might seem like things are spiraling out of control. Yet, in her final words and her life, Sister Lucia showed us something powerful, that the power of prayer and the strength of faith can change the course of events, even if the world seems lost. She believed that prayer wasn't just a ritual, it was a lifeline, a way to reconnect with God and with one another. One of the most important things Sister Lucia asked for was that we pray every day, especially the Rosary. She knew that prayer had the power not only to bring us closer to God, but also to protect us from the confusion and disorientation that would grip the world. The Rosary, she believed, was a powerful tool that helped people stay focused on God, on truth, and love. It was a way to ask for God's help and to seek the strength to face the challenges ahead. The Rosary is a prayer that is simple yet profound, and Sister Lucia's devotion to it shows us that even in the busyness and chaos of life, we can find peace and guidance by setting aside time for prayer. But Sister Lucia's message was also about staying close to the truth, especially when the world is filled with confusion and lies. We live in a time where it can be difficult to know what's right and what's wrong. So many voices are competing for our attention, telling us different things, and it's easy to get lost. Sister Lucia warned that diabolical disorientation would cause many people, even those in the church, to lose their way. In times like these, it's even more important to stay rooted in the truth of God's Word, the truth of love, and the truth of human dignity. Even when it seems like the world is heading in the wrong direction, staying close to the truth can be our compass, guiding us through the storm. Another crucial lesson we can learn from Sister Lucia is the importance of helping others who feel lost or confused. So many people today are struggling with doubt, fear, and uncertainty. Many are searching for meaning, and some are even abandoning their faith. But But Sister Lucia's message reminds us that we have a responsibility to help others find their way. We can do this by offering a kind word, by sharing the truth, and by living as examples of love and faith. Sometimes, just being there for someone, listening to them, or offering them a little hope can make all the difference in their lives. Sister Lucia believed that even the smallest act of love or kindness could change the world. Even when things seem dark and hopeless, Sister Lucia teaches us not to give up. She lived through difficult times. She saw visions that showed her the suffering and trials that humanity would face, and yet she never lost her hope. She never gave in to despair. She continued to trust in God's plan and the power of prayer. Her life shows us that even when the world feels dark, we should never lose hope. We should always believe that change is possible, that even one prayer, one act of love, can make a big difference. Sister Lucia's life reminds us that even if we are not visionaries or saints, we can still make a difference in the world. Faithfulness, even in silence, has the power to change the world. Her example shows us that we can live with courage, faith, and kindness, no matter the challenges we face. We may not all be able to change the world on a grand scale, but we can certainly change the world for one person at a time. In the end, Sister Lucia's message is one of hope. It's a message that encourages us to pray, to hold fast to the truth, to help others, and to never give up no matter how dark things may seem. It's a message that calls us to live out our faith with courage, love, and resilience, and to trust that, with God's help, we can overcome even the most difficult challenges. So now that you've heard the full story of the Third Secret of Fatima and Sister Lucia's final warning, what do you think? Was her message meant for long ago or for right now? In a time when the world feels more lost than ever, when families are breaking, people are turning away from faith, and even the truth feels hard to find, Sister Lucia's words feel like a light in the dark. She didn't just tell us to be afraid. She told us to wake up, to pray, to trust in God, and to stay strong even when the world feels weak. If even one of us listens and changes, maybe we can help others too. Maybe this is what the message of Fatima was all about, not fear, but faith, not panic, but peace. So let's take her warning seriously. Let's choose the light over darkness. Let's be brave, even when things feel scary. And most of all, let's never forget that God is always with us, even in the middle of the storm. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched your heart or made you think, please like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more deep and powerful stories just like this. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay faithful, and never stop searching for the truth. Stop searching for the truth. Stop searching for the truth.